All right, I'm going to review the tracks on Wolfgang Van Halen's new album. People are saying it's not like Van Halen, but if you listen to the guitar work, I mean, you know, obviously this is Mr. Ed. He called it Mr. Ed. And it's obviously a nod to his dad. So I think it has a lot of Van Halen influence in it. It's a rock album. It's not exactly like Van Halen, but hell yeah, it's rock. And I love Mr. Ed. The solo's killer. Got the tapping in it and got harmonics in it, very reminiscent of Mr. Ed himself. And a lot of people are saying it's not like Van Halen. Well, there's Van Halen all over this. I hate to tell you, but you know, in the guitar parts and the licks themselves, obviously he's influenced by his father. So I think that's awesome. And at the same time, he's doing something totally different, modern rock style, and I really dig it. Mr. Ed. All right, Horribly Right got lots of hooks, man. He's totally in on the hooks with this, not only from a vocal hook standpoint, but all throughout the song. And there's these little harmonic things with the left and right, you know, stereo spectrum. And then you've got an arpeggiation figure going on at the end that's a hook. And then you've got hooks all over the lyrics, melodies. And it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that he's putting that many hooks into these songs. And that's just the sign of a great writer and somebody like Wolfgang, whose first effort this is. It's amazing that he's able to put together all these pieces so well and with so many layers. And I think I saw an interview yesterday where he was talking about listening to a record and being able to pick up more from it later as you went along. And that's what deep hooks do. When an album has so many hooks in it like this, you hear so many different elements that eventually, as you listen to it over and over and over, so you get quite the feast of musical melody and hooks. So this is a great example of that. Very modern rock, but I love it. Rock on. You know, I saw him with Tremonti, and there's a lot of that element in this album. Elvis Baskett doing the engineering, obviously was behind all of the Alter Bridge stuff and Tremonti's solo album. So you're going to hear a lot of that tone and that production in this, and it's killer. I mean, the drum sounds are pitching, man. They're insane. And of course, everything else sounds great too. And I think for Wolfgang, this is a home run as far as the sounds go. He's got all the, you know, all great sounds put together with these songs that are, they're multi-layered. They have a lot of different elements that flow through them. There's no moment where I'm going, oh, that's definitely a rip of this or rip of that or influenced by this or that. There is moments through this entire album that are, you know, a mix of everything that he's probably grown up on, including Van Halen. So there's some great drum stuff in here that I noticed as I get into it. So I'll talk about that. Track 3, Epiphany. Wow. You know what I love the most about this song is the breakdown in the center, the bridge section of this. It's a really long section, but it builds and builds and builds, and a lot of detail comes into it. And then it comes back into the main part of the chorus, and that is really cool. Cool section. Very interesting to listen to, and I don't know what this song reminds me of. It's got a lot of kind of upbeat feel, you know, off on the upbeat, and obviously this is a great drum song, man. The production just shines on the drums. Obviously Wolfgang was attracted to the production that Baskett had on drums because, you know, that's the meat of any production, and he kills it. So that's an awesome song. Epiphany. Don't Back Down, track number 4. What a cool song. Really rocking. And of course, I've seen the video for this, and it's just a killer video, just funny. And of course, the So This Is Love tag on the end makes it really cool. So one thing I've noticed, and I've been talking about probably in these videos, is that, you know, as a drummer, I'm talking a lot about the drums and the drum parts and drum sounds. And what I hear in these tracks is that potentially he had all these drum parts that he played, and then maybe he went backwards with it and fit music to the drum parts. Now, I've done that before myself with a drummer that I worked with who wanted to have certain drum parts in a song. He had these licks that he wanted me to write to. So what we did is we laid it down, and then I wrote parts to that. Now, I don't know whether that's what Wolfgang did here, but it kind of feels like a lot of these songs are based upon drum parts at first, and then added to later, or a combination of that. You know, there's a whole, you can do it a lot of different ways, and but there just seems to be a real great foundation here that he kind of alludes to when he talks about Dave Grohl in some of these interviews he's doing. And you know, looking at it from a drum perspective, I mean, all that production work with Elvis Baskett obviously was an attraction for the drum sounds, and you know, that's the meat and potatoes of any production. So I think this song really shows that, and it also shows this great cymbal work in the breakdown that ends up going into this just crushing part in the middle there, kind of a solo break, where he plays just a ton of great drum licks and parts. And I think this song really shows his drumming off really well. So anyway, great song. Don't Back Down. Track 5, Resolve. Pretty cool song. Got that sort of Beatley major to minor vibe, and then you've got a great bass line pulsating on top of that. Then you've got, as you get into it, he's got a great guitar solo in this, and overall, really cool song, kind of different from the other songs, so that's a good thing. And there's quite a few of those little songs in here that break up the kind of mid-tempo hard rock thing. It goes Track 6, You'll Be The One. On this one, again, he's like the king of breakdowns here. Has really cool parts going on in the breakdowns and building back up to the, it's sort of like a little pause before it comes back into the chorus. And then actually, I think it goes into the solo there. Really cool solo with the wah pedal and everything. So that was pretty neat. That's what kind of stuck out to me on this one. And then the kind of upbeat thing with the hi-hat. And really neat song. You'll Be The One. Rock it. Song number 7, Mammoth. My favorite song on the album, I'm pretty sure. It's a great song with great sentiment and lyrics and a very upbeat, positive message. And, you know, it's about doing what you got to do, man, and then, you know, letting other people think whatever they want to think. And obviously he's been dealing with that for a while, and I think this song says it all. The Frankenstein is on this track, on the solo, and there's a great breakdown and build up into it. And some insane drum parts in here. So I gotta say, Mammoth. My favorite song so far on the album. Track number 7. Check it out. Killers. Track 8, Circles. Have you ever listened to an album and when you first heard a song, you were like, maybe, and then later you were like, wow, this is genius. I kind of think this is one of those songs, Circles. It's it starts out very, you know, kind of calm and medium tempoed and has this echoey kind of thing going on. And then as it moves along, it progresses quite a bit as far as layers and detail. And again, there's just a lot of really cool detail. One thing I haven't said is there's a ton of great vocal detail too, background vocal detail, and parts that he does that are beautiful parts, and really complement his voice. So Circle's a different song, really different from anything else on this album so far. And I think it's one of those songs that you know, starts out maybe not being your favorite, but then ends up being your favorite. It's kind of a weird song like that, you know. So anyway, that's the first side of this album. I'm going to move on to the second side with The Big Picture is next. All right, The Big Picture. This one is extremely big sounding all across. Kind of a mid-tempo rocker. And, you know, again, a lot of cool parts in it. And, but the guitar sound is just a wall of guitars. And it's pretty heavy. So probably, I was just thinking it was kind of the heaviest song on this album. And, you know, I guess that's debatable. But as far as a big sound, The Big Picture is definitely huge. So that's number 9. On to Think It Over. All right, Think It Over. I think this song is the best song on the album. And I'll tell you why. It's just great songwriting. It's got great hooks all through it. During the chorus, he's got this guitar line that's kind of mirroring the vocal melody. And it's a fantastic hook. It's got a great guitar solo in it. Great verses. It's got a great message. Everything about this song is awesome. I think it's the best song on the album. I have a soft spot for Mammoth. Just the overall sound of it, and of course the Frankenstein being it. But from as pop sensibility, this song is a radio song and should be on the radio and should be a hit. And so I think right there you've got the best pop song on this album. Think It Over. Check it out, y'all. All right, Feel. What a great tune. Let me, let's see, that was track number 12 on here. And what a great tune. I love the little bass run he does, the really fast bass run he does, the little solo part there in between one of the parts. I think going into another verse, but it's a killer tone. It's got a lot of distortion on it. It sounds really great. And then later on, you hear the guitar solo, and that is the Frankenstein again in this song. And it's got a wah pedal on it. I don't think the Frankenstein ever had a wah pedal on it on any Van Halen albums, so that's kind of cool. And also, if you watched his feeds from the Instagram, this drum part that's towards the end was one of the videos that he clipped out of him just playing the drums. So it's cool to hear it in the final track after seeing it on Instagram, I don't know, years ago, I think it was. So anyway, great song. A lot of really tight stuff between the guitar, bass, and drums on this. And I think that's what really most impressed me is all the detail that's going on between all three of them and how tight it is. It's really awesome. And it does sound like a band, which is something he said that, and other people have said, that he sounds like a band even though it's him playing all the instruments. It's really cool. So that's Feel. 2 more to go. All right, track 13, Stone. Wow, definitely a 90s kind of vibe here. And I wouldn't say grunge. I'd say a little bit more like Alice in Chains kind of vibe maybe, or something else. But I tell you what, it's got some of the biggest sounds on the entire album. They're huge. The breakdown, again, it's just massive. And the parts, that whole section just is insane. It's incredible, the size of it. Elvis Basket just blew it out of the park with this one as far as production goes. So that's a pretty cool song. The next one's Distance. And I'm going to listen to it with the vinyl and just see how I feel about that. And then see what we got. right, track 14, Distance. What can I say about Distance? I can say that his vocal, a lot of people were unbelieving of his vocal. And when I saw them in 2007 at Phillips Arena, I went to the VIP thing where you could actually go to soundcheck. When I was at soundcheck, Wolfgang was singing lead, not just backgrounds. I think a lot of times you'll see videos that are out there of Van Halen doing those sound checks, and his dad are just doing background. Him and his dad are just doing background vocals. But when I saw him, he was doing the lead vocals to, I think it was Al Waite in the sound check, and he sounded great. So I knew he could sing. And, 13, 14 years later, now we really hear his voice. And, the dynamic of it, from the soft, clean to the really high, gritty. And it's just a fantastic voice, especially for this kind of stuff. And Distance, what can I say about Distance? I think when Eddie passed and this song came out, we're always going to associate that feeling of losing him with this song. And so I'll always feel that sorrow and the joy of his memory and all the people that celebrated him right after that. And unfortunately, we were in the middle of COVID, so we couldn't have any kind of public celebration. So Wolfie did his thing, and it was a pretty good thing. It got millions and millions of views, and the video was just touching and amazing. So anyway, what a great way to end the album, and what a great album overall. Just fantastic top to bottom. Y'all go get this thing, and you'll be really impressed with what Wolfgang's pulled together. And, unfortunately, he couldn't share 2 years ago because of his father's condition, but now we have it. Now we have Mammoth. And I love the name. I love that. I love that he used the name from the original Van Halen before they were Van Halen name for this. Awesome. Awesome package, awesome album, awesome vinyl. Get the vinyl, y'all. Rocks. See ya.